Welcome to Lagos. Oh, I want to go to Lagos one day. I want to go to every country in Africa one day. It's one of my dreams. One of my dream holidays will be to tour the whole continent. But until I get to do that, I'm going to tour the whole continent through books. Hopefully. Hi everyone. Today we are reviewing Welcome to Lagos book. Yes. And just before I start, I just want to put it out there that if I don't read any more fiction before the year ends, I think Welcome to Lagos will be my favorite book of the year 2020. Okay, let's get into the review. Alright, so to start off, just look at the covering of the book. I don't know if you guys can see really well, but look at it. It's so beautiful, and the colors, I really love the colors, and it's actually one of the things that attracted me. The title is really bold, and I remember when I went to the bookshop and I picked, and like when I saw it, I could see the sign, so I saw Welcome to Lagos, so I picked it up straight away, and the packaging and the title straight away caught my attention. I was like, wow, I need to read this. So I just picked it up, went and paid for it, and then that was it. But this book is really good. This book is really good. It's really interesting. I'm not really a big fan of fiction, but I couldn't put this book down. Like, would I say it's similar? Yeah, I guess my views about it will probably be similar to my sister, the serial killer book that I read. I did a review on it in one of my videos. I will link it up somewhere so that you can go and watch that one. But yeah, like my sister, the serial killer book, the writing in this book is just so immaculate. Like, this author, so let me get his name. I keep looking at the name because I'm not sure if I can pronounce it. I don't want to say it wrong. Okay, Chibundu Onuzo. Chibundu Onuzo. I hope I'm pronouncing it right. But yeah, Welcome to Lagos by Chibundu Onuzo. And yeah, so I've already mentioned about the covering, the packaging of the book. Really good. And I don't know if you can see it, but there's like these motor type cars and these buses on there that I'm familiar with them. I'm from Ghana, and they have them in Ghana too. And there's just the whole setting of the picture on the book. It's like a typical like African market, and it's just nice, you know. I get that home feel to it when I look at it. But yeah, so let's talk about the story in this book. So I think before I started reading the book, I had this assumption that the book would probably be about life in Lagos, how Lagos is like. So I just assumed that, yeah, it will probably just talk about life. Even before I read the back of the book, like what, you know, when they write like the synopsis, is there a synopsis here? When they write it, then they give you like a brief of what the book will be about. Even before I read it, from the title, I assumed that the book would probably be about, yeah, living in Lagos and how that is like. But how the story unfolds and ends the whole way through, I'm just like, I didn't expect this. Like, the whole way through, things will be unfolding. I'm like, how? Why? When? Who? Like, that was me the whole way through as I was reading this book. And I think the author does really well by involving the reader in the story. So when I was reading the book, I felt like I was in Lagos with the different characters. So I don't know about you, but when I'm reading fiction, I want to be able to be a part of the story, and this book did that really well. Like, I literally felt like I was in Lagos and I was seeing what was happening as the story unfolded. And yeah, before I get carried away, let me just give you a brief of what the book is about. So the book talks about this group of people who have traveled from different areas in Nigeria to Lagos. So the different story, different situations and different personal life stories brings them to Lagos, and they're basically trying to make it in Lagos, and the different encounters that these different people have is basically what makes the story. And the whole essence of the book is basically how being in Lagos, how that literally shapes your life. So the environment, the city, how the city actually shapes your life, and not necessarily like what you do in Lagos, but how Lagos as a city, Lagos as a place shapes your life. And it's really interesting because as I was reading it, it was just like I was just thinking about how the concept of a place, or the concept of a country, or the concept of a city can actually have such an impact on an individual's life. And that's exactly what was happening in the book to these different individuals, these different characters. And there are 5 or 6 main characters in the book, and 5 of these characters actually end up being together, and they're trying to do this Lagos life together. And there are some really emotional parts, because as I'm reading it, like, some of these characters in the book face difficulties, like, for example, like actually finding somewhere to live, because they just didn't have enough money to rent a place. So for example, these group of people in the book, so these 5 characters in the book, they end up having to go and live under a bridge for a period of time because they didn't have any money to rent a place to live, and they didn't really have any like meaningful job that would pay them enough money to rent a place. So it was really interesting, right? So the main 5 characters that I love, by the way, so I'm just gonna mention the names. So one of them is called Isokin. Yeah, Isokin. I really hope I'm pronouncing these names right here. So Isokin, Chike, Yemi, Oma, and Fine Boy. Yeah, there's a character in the book called Fine Boy, and these 5 group of people with their different characters, different personalities, just makes the book like so good to read. And their different life stories as well just makes them make them really gel together well. So for example, Chike was in the army with Yemi, and they were in the Delta. Yeah, so there's a place in Nigeria called the Delta. Yeah. And they were there, and basically a lot of things were going on in the Delta that they didn't agree with, and they were being given orders to shoot civilians for no reason. So they end up leaving the army by running away, and they end up getting on a bus to come to Lagos, even though they didn't know anyone in Lagos. But Lagos was the first place that they thought of, thinking Lagos is very big, that once they get there, they'll find something to do, And really and truly they did. Eventually they find something to do, but the struggle, the things that they had to go through in order to find something to do in Lagos eventually. And then Oma is another character that I really loved, like, just because the things that she had gone through in order to get to Lagos was like, it was relatable. It was something that you could, like, it's something that can happen in everyday life to people. So Oma was a a lady who had gotten married, and her husband had started abusing her physically, and basically she had had enough and she decided to run away, and she ended up in Lagos. She actually came to live with her cousin, but then when she got there, her cousin wasn't around, so she ends up meeting with Chike and Yemi, and then Isokin and then Fine Boy, and they become like a clique, trying to move about in Lagos together, and it was really amazing. And when I mentioned earlier that I felt like I was there as I was reading the book, I literally felt like I was there, because there are certain parts of the book where, for example, Oma, there was a point where she was like, she had missed being in, like, being at home with her husband, and she was just talking about how she took certain things for granted, like, for example, like having a toaster at home or having a kettle at home, and now she didn't even have a place to sleep. And for me, it was kind of like sitting there listening to her as she was saying those things, or as she was like thinking about those things. So it didn't really feel like she was just thinking those things in her head. I felt like I was sitting there and she was telling me that. And I'm just amazed that I could get that experience from reading the book. It just shows you that the author really had the reader's experience in mind as the book was being written, and I think that is really great. What else? I think another aspect of the book that I really enjoyed is the political aspect as well. So there's another character in the book called Chief Sandayo, and Chief Sandayo just, I don't know, I feel like his character really gives the reader kind of like an opening to Nigerian politics. And even though this is fiction, like I sometimes follow African politics, and even though this is fiction, some of the things that were going on in the book, I was like, yeah, this happens on a daily basis in politics, especially in Africa. So Chief Sandayo is in the book the Minister for Education, and he was being who was he doing? Yeah, so Minister for Education, and he had stolen some money. So he had stolen $10 million that needed to be used for revamping primary education in the country, and he had stolen it. So obviously people were looking for him, the police were looking for him and everything, and he ends up meeting these 5 group of people, so Chike, Miami, and all the other guys. He ends up meeting them, but how he ends up meeting them is just crazy. And obviously he's a politician in Nigeria, so once he meets them, they know him, and what Chike and the other guys end up doing is they take the $10 million from him, and they start using that money to revamp schools. So it's like the different stories just they go well together in this book. And I think for me, like I mentioned earlier, this book, Welcome to Lagos, it's probably going to be my favorite fiction book in 2020. I don't know if I'm gonna get the chance to read any more fiction, I'll see, but I really like how it was written, and I just love the realness of the different stories in the book. And being an African, being a woman as well, I really enjoyed reading about Oma and Isokin being like the only two like main women characters in the book, and they really had to gather up vim to kind of like get on with this way of living in Lagos. As women, they had to really kind of like just get on with it, or they were not going to get food to eat, or they were not going to get somewhere to sleep. So I love the strength that these women had in the book, and I think it's like that for women in Nigeria, for women in Ghana, women in Africa. They get up and they get on with it, because yeah, that's life. So yeah, hats off to Omar and Isuki in the book. They really tried, and in the end, I think I don't want to talk so much about the end because I don't want to give the end away, but the ending, sorry, was a bit unexpected, but I was just like, wow, like like even though it was unexpected, later on as I was like reflecting on the book, I was just like, this can actually happen, you know, this is something that can happen in Africa. This is something that can happen, especially when you are in a place where everything is just so fast paced. And Lagos is a place, from what I've heard, I've never been to Lagos, but from what I've heard and from what I've seen in like movies and stuff, it seems like a place that is very fast paced. So the ending for me, even though it was unexpected, I felt like, yeah, this is something that can happen. And even though I kind of didn't want it to end that way, still, you know, I can't get everything that I want. Still, I was like, yeah, it's fine. Like, it is what it is. But yeah, this book, Welcome to Lagos, is amazing. And I would encourage you all to get a copy and read for yourself. I got my copy from Waterstones for, yeah, $8.99. So yeah, you can check it out and get a copy. And the author has another book as well called The Spider King's Daughter. And like I mentioned, I really enjoy his way of writing. So I'm going to get that book. I don't know when I'm going to get it, but I'm going to get it and then also read that as well and see how that goes. But yeah, that is the review of Welcome to Lagos. One day I'm going to go to Lagos and I'm going to see for myself how it's like there. So I really hope that you all enjoyed this book review, and I hope that I've said enough for you to want to get a copy. If there's anything you want to ask me concerning this book, you can ask me in the comments below and I will do my very best to answer them. So yeah, please comment below and tell me what you think, whether you're going to get it or not, and like the video as well, and let me know if you enjoyed this review and if I should do more. I'll be more than happy to. God bless you all so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.